Welcome, everyone. I am so excited for you to hear this episode today with Joelle Jarvis. She is the founder of Mindset Partnership. She is a executive coach extraordinaire. I can't tell you how valuable her insights are. This conversation that you're about to hear with her, you will want to have a pen and paper handy. She drops so much knowledge, and there are some things that she talks about that are things that we can use immediately in our lives to reset our thinking, to think about goals and how to think about visions for our lives. We're going to jump right into the conversation, and here we go. Hi, Joelle. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am really interested to learn, have you share with our audience your background. So you and I were just chatting a little bit, and you worked for many years for somebody who I just find to be a dynamo and really sort of superhuman in some ways, right? Tony Robbins. Can you talk a little bit about what you did for Tony? Because I know that also kind of leads into what you do today.
Absolutely. So I was very fortunate. I first heard about Tony when I was living in London and was completely blown away. I had been going through kind of a funk with the dark and all of that, and did my first Tony Robbins tape back in the days. Remember when the cassette tapes? And I remember putting the tape in and just going, oh my God, I just got myself back. I remember feeling like, oh, that's who I am. And so I very innocent and naively sent a fax over inviting to bring him to the UK and putting on an event for a couple hundred people. And they very politely declined and told me that Mr. Robbins did events for several thousand people and put me in touch with the promoter in the UK, who I was very fortunate in that he was not really into personal development. For him, it was more of an event. So I got to be kind of the right-hand person for everything that Tony did in the UK and Europe for the first several years that he was out there. Mm-hmm. And so in that process, not only was I doing marketing and public relations, but I started doing all the work, and I became a coach, and then I became a trainer, and then I became a master trainer, and then I started his coaching program. In the meantime, in that process, I'd moved back to America and was working for Tony full-time and teaching his leadership program and just having the most incredible time traveling around the world. And then I very fortunately met my husband through working for Tony. His sister worked for the company, and at the time I was coaching women. And one of the things I would coach women was when they wanted to meet a guy, we'd come up with a bunch of strategies they could use. And one of the strategies was, if you want to meet a man, if somebody talks about a guy that you know, you say, oh, is he single? Does he want to meet me? So my friend Sherry was talking about her brother, and he was just saying how great he was. And I said, oh, is he single? Does he want to meet me? And she went, oh my God, if my brother met you, he'd be madly in love with you. So I said, well, hook us up. And she did. And we talked a few weeks later, and we got married about 11 months later. So wow. I rode with him for a long time. And then after I got married, I came off the road and ended up coming back and doing more things that were home-based. And then I got more into marketing because I didn't want to travel. But I worked for Tony for a long time. It was the most extraordinary experience of my life.
So let's talk a little bit about what Tony, so for people who aren't familiar with Tony Robbins, or maybe they know who he is, but they're not really familiar with what he talks about. Yeah. It would be great if you could talk a little bit about what his approach is and then how that has informed you in terms of how you think.
So the biggest thing, so first of all, so Tony Robbins, I'll give my definition of him. Not only being one of the most extraordinary communicators and speakers on the planet, he is an expert at pattern recognition. He's able to observe things in human behavior, and he's able to synthesize them into really easy to understand bite-sized pieces. And then he gives people really, really easy to implement skills and tools and resources that they can use to help to take their life to the next level, whatever that is for them. And, the big thing with Tony is a couple things. One is the biggest thing he's taught me is there's only one thing in the entire world I have control over, and that's me. So those of us who are out there trying to figure out how to control our environment, how to control our relationships, how to control anything other than how we show up is a complete waste of time. So that was the biggest thing that I learned, primarily from Tony, was that the most important thing was myself and how I show up, the way I operate in the world. The other thing I learned from Tony, just by watching him as an example, so he's worked with millions and millions and millions of people over the years, done extraordinary work with across corporations, across charities. He's been on the Forbes list of the top business people. But he also, the biggest thing that I've learned from him was presence. When he talks to you, when he connects with you, when he works with you, you feel like you're the only person on the planet. And that is a really, really powerful thing. And it allows him to be able to influence in a more productive way. It allows him to give people, to create an opening for people to be open, to be vulnerable because they feel loved. I remember being at an event with him with this woman from Europe. And she said that when he gave her a hug and when he looked at her, it was the first time in her life she felt unconditional love. So, if you put those things together about that, the only thing that you can really do is to control yourself and manage yourself. And then the importance of being present and giving people the best of who you are. I would say those are probably the two most important things. And then the third thing is resiliency. Is no matter what life shows, no matter what shows up, no matter what's in your space, no matter what you have to deal with, whether it's divorce, whether it's death, whether it's losing a job, whether it's coronavirus, whether it's financial insecurity, any of those things, it doesn't matter what life throws at you, as long as you're prepared and ready and able to take it and turn it into something and do something with it and not get stuck. It's a big difference between having an emotion and your emotion having you.
Yeah. And I appreciate that so much. And because I think the resilience idea and developing that muscle within yourself is such a critical thing. And it's one that you cannot learn unless you just go through it and you experience it, right? It's not,
you have to build the muscle. It's like any other muscle. You have to build it. You have to consciously change your state. Like athletes are used to doing it. Athletes understand. You don't go into a game. You've never seen the Laker locker room or an NFL locker room where they're all sitting around going, oh God, we got a game, okay, fine, let's get out there, right? Athletes know that. They understand before you're going to go play a game, you get your head right. And that's the biggest thing that people miss out on. They wait for other things around them to make them happy, to make them feel good, to feel inspired, to be appreciated, whatever it is. And when that happens, then they're going to take action. But that's not what it's about. It's about deciding to feel that way inside yourself and taking action from that place. That's where the power is. When I worked for Tony, people would always say to me, doesn't he get angry? Doesn't he get upset? And I go, yeah, of course he does. He's a human being. But the difference between him and the rest of us, most of us, is recovery time with him is like that. His recovery time is like that. And my son and I did a great thing. I shared with you earlier, my husband passed away when my son was little. And so we're very present to how precious life is. We're very present to how short it is. And my son and I have a thing, which is don't let it cost you a day. It's like, if you're going to be upset about something, it doesn't matter what it is. Don't let it cost you a day. What if this was your last day? Don't let it cost you this day.
Right. Well, and so that leads me to think that a lot of it is about mind over matter, right? Because we could get very caught up in something and, like sort of marinate in it, right? Languish in that space. And I would love to hear, because I know now we're going to talk about, your currently what you're spending your time doing after all of those years of experience working with Tony, and doing coaching there. You're now doing coaching, executive coaching, yourself. Can you talk a little bit about this idea? So you said that you've had some difficult things go on in your life. Your husband passed away. Your son was young when that happened. That is an enormous thing to overcome. And when you talk about the things that you learned from Tony, one of them was the resilience idea. But how do you help counsel other people, other people, to overcome things that get thrown at them?
Well, it's a couple things. One is, you said something is about mind over matter. I would say it's a little bit differently. I would say it's mind over meaning. And,
Mm.
there's the events of our life that happen to us, and the events are non-denominational. The events don't show up with an opinion about how we respond to them. The events don't show up with a way that we need to process them and what we need to make it mean about ourselves and the beliefs that we need to take away from it. That's all us. So the event happens, and then we create meaning around it. And I was very, very fortunate. When my husband passed away, I remember very, very vividly about a week and a half after he died, somebody said to me, and I was very lucky. I'd been working for Tony a long time before that happened. So I had really built the muscle of finding a new meaning and focus on the outcome and be resilient. And I've been doing that for a long time. And I remember, people saying to me, "You're doing so well." And I said, "Look, my son just lost his father, and he's sure as hell not going to lose his mother." And so I think a lot of it is, you've got to find a meaning that empowers you. You've got to find a meaning that serves as kind of like your true north. And then it's about keep course correcting. I had a girl I was coaching years ago, and she'd gone through, I was teaching a neurolinguistic programming course. A lot of the basis of what Tony teaches is based on something called neurolinguistic programming. And a lot of it was based on original like Ericksonian hypnosis. So I took all those courses back when I was working for Tony because I wanted to be really good at what I did. And, one of the things that completely lost my train of thought. Oh, and using the NLP stuff. So one of the things that I learned a long time ago was that you have to be able to process an emotion. You can't not process it. It's not about pushing emotions down and not having them. It's finding a better way to deal with those emotions and to process them through and then to turn it into something else. So I was teaching an NLP certification class, and one of the girls who was taking my class, I was coaching her as well. And she was a teacher, and she had recently lost both of her parents in a car accident. And she was just devastated. She was young. She was like in her early to mid 20s. And she said all she did was cry every day. And she was just so devastated and so sad. And of course, it's natural and normal for her to be sad and to cry. She just lost both of her parents. It was tragic. But the challenge is it was taking up her whole day. It was taking up her whole life. And what people don't realize is that yes, there's this tragic event that happened or this difficult thing that happened, but the fallout from it by not dealing with it appropriately can oftentimes be worse. So now not only am I sad, but now I'm fat. Not only am I sad, but now my relationships are crappy. Not only am I sad, but I've been letting my work suffer. Now I've got all this cleanup to do. So what I did with this girl was I said, okay, I'll tell you what. I understand you need to cry every day. I understand you're sad. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to set a timer, and I have my timers. Set a timer, and you can cry your eyes out for 60 minutes. At the end of the 60 minutes, wash your face, put on your makeup, and get on with your life. And so it's about taking those steps because no one's going to do it for you. It has to come from inside you. So it's really, I was thinking about this New Year's, right? And we were just talking about setting our visions, doing vision boards and being set up for the year. And I was trying to think of an acronym for people to think about, setting what their intentions are. And the acronym I came up with, I think is kind of fun, is voila, like the French, voila, right? Stands for is vision. Like, what's your vision? And it's not about, I want this much money. I want this kind of boyfriend. I want this house. It's not about that. It's more about what you want your life to be about. So, in my vision for 2021, for me, it's about, being on top of my game, adding tremendous value, helping to raise the level of people's lives. I want to be rewarded and compensated appropriately for the work that I'm doing and be on track to create financial freedom, right? That's my vision, right? So then the O is outcome. So to get to that vision, what are some of the outcomes I need to be working towards? And the outcomes are like your individual goals, but those are the things that are tangible. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to, have accomplished this goal. I want to get this degree, whatever that is. That's your outcomes. And the next is the I, which is in the I and voila is identity. Who do I need to be to make that happen? How do I need to show up? Who do I need to be? What are the qualities and traits that I need to consistently tap into every day? Then the next piece is part of the answer to your question, the L. And what the L is leverage. What is my why? Why is this a must for me? Why am I committed to this? If it's for me, if it's for other people. And as women, we tend to be willing to do more for others than we would ever do for ourselves, right? So that leverage piece is super, super, super important. And then the last part of voila is the A, which is the actions. What are the actions you're going to take? And you're taking those actions from the place of identity, of being the best of who you are. So that's what we were talking about earlier. Everything emanates from how you show up and who you are. So I used to have my clients kind of think about like, oh, what do you want to accomplish and all that? But I've really moved away from that. And what I've really got people being focused on is, what are you proud of? What can you do today to feel proud of who you are? What did you do today that you're proud of? And it could have been that you accomplished something. It could have been that you were going to yell at your kids and you stopped yourself and you caught yourself. It could have been that you were about to put that bite in your mouth and you went, like yesterday, I was dying to have Rocky Road ice cream. My son got this huge bowl of Rocky Road ice cream, but I made a deal with myself that I wasn't going to have any sugar after 8 o'clock. And it was like 8:06. And I did. And I was like, yes, that was like, I was really proud of that because it was so easy. I could have justified it so easily. So,
yeah. Well, and that is, so I love that. And I, of course, was jotting those down as you were talking. And, I think one of the things that we struggle with, right? As women, we struggle with is we have a desire to improve, right? Why does everyone make New Year's resolutions? We want to improve. We want to, kind of continue to evolve and be better. But I think the part of the issue that we've heard from women is that what you actually want, like what gets you there is the thing that they struggle with. So, you ask people, do you want to be better? Of course, everyone wants to improve and be better, but how do you put yourself on a path to be focused on the right thing? And I would love your perspective on that, because I do think that, especially, there are a lot of women who feel like I could do a lot of things that could make me happy. Theoretically, how do you, is there a practice that you have or that you can share that could help a woman understand, how do I put myself, what should I be focused on so that I get on the path to achieving what I want to achieve personally in my life?
That's a great question. I think that there's a couple things. I think one is we get ourselves very confused between actions and outcomes. So for example, let's say my big goal is I want to lose 20 pounds, right? That's my big goal. So then what I do is I say, okay, what I'm going to do is to lose that 20 pounds, I'm going to run every day, or I'm going to Peloton every day, or I'm going to do this, right? And we start off and it's New Year's and we're all excited. And so we do a really good job of it for like 3 weeks, right? And at the end of the 3 weeks, we're like, oh, maybe I was running and now the weather's crappy and I don't want to run anymore. Or, I was doing the Peloton, I'm bored with the classes and, whatever, right? But what happens is we made that action the goal. Was my goal ever to run every day? No. Was my goal to Peloton every day? No, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to lose weight and get in shape, right? My goal was about changing my body. How many ways are there to do that? An infinite number of ways. Could I lose weight and get in shape without exercising at all? Absolutely. I could change my diet. Could I find new things to do every day? Absolutely. But here's the distinction. The distinction is we spend a lot of time trying to get ourselves to do the things. Where the energy needs to be spent is connecting ourselves to how we want to show up. If I'm a person who values consistency, discipline, motivation, joy, right? And I'm focusing every day on getting myself into those states. And then you might say to yourself, Joelle, well, that's fine, but how do I do that? How do you do it? You remember a time. That's how we tap in.
Yeah.
That's how we tap in. It doesn't have to be right now. I could ask you about your favorite vacation and you could start talking about it and take yourself right back there. So this idea that things have to be happening to us in the moment for us to feel good or for us to feel inspired is irrelevant. The truth of the matter is you can feel however you want to feel at any given moment. When we watch a movie, why do we love the movie? We feel it. The other piece of it is that, that meaning we attach. The best thing I can say about that is ask yourself the question always, if something happens and it makes you feel a certain way because you're reacting, then this is like a golden question. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? What else could this mean? It's a great question. What else could this mean? What else could be going on with them? What else could be happening in the world? What else could this mean is they could be super busy. What else this could mean is maybe they're having a financial situation. They can't deal with it. What else could this mean is maybe they're embarrassed to tell me that they don't want to do it. What else could this mean? Maybe they haven't looked at it. What else? I mean, who knows? But choose something that empowers you, because guess what? You're never going to know the right answer. So pick something that makes you feel good. Why choose a meaning that makes you feel bad? So that's the first part. Now, to your second question. So I had quite an extraordinary 5-year period. Over a 5-year period, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. About a year and a half later, my husband died. A couple of years after that, my mom died, and I lost all my money. So over a period of time, I went from having this incredible marriage with this man I was madly in love with a brand new child. And my mom and I were so close and having this amazing life. And we had this incredible, I got married in Fiji also at Tony's Resort at Namali. We had this amazing life, and we were living in San Diego. It was beautiful, to not knowing how to put a roof over my son's head, not having anywhere to be, and having gone from never having to work again to having nothing and owing money. And you know, you get to a point. So here's the thing. I had built a muscle so strong inside of me over the years, because by the time that happened, I'd been working for Tony and with Tony for, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years. So I had such a strong muscle built of finding a better meaning, of finding something to have as an outcome, of finding something to create purpose, of asking a better question, of looking for things to be grateful for. And because of that, I was able to, and you said something earlier and I wanted to ask, you said, what do people do? You know, they get overwhelmed. What should I do about this? Or what steps should I take, or whatever? Get yourself in a good state and take the next right step. But you got to get in a good state first. Like, it's like, I was talking to somebody yesterday, we were talking, it's a venture capitalist, they were talking about investing. And they said, you know, they were just in a cranky mood, and all the deals they looked at were crap. And I said, well, guess what? I have good news and bad news. You know, the good news is they probably aren't crap, but the bad news is you need to go get in a good mood and do all that work again.
Yeah.
Because when you look through it, if you look, you know, it's like garbage in, garbage out. If you look at things with that lens, you're going to get more of what you're looking for. And the other thing I want to say about that too is, you know, when I tell my story, if I was a different kind of person and I didn't have all the skills and tools I have, which by the way, my son also has, because he's grown up in this. And I will tell you, for your child to have you being able to give them those distinctions that you're giving at that age, so many people, their children, they don't give them that. They don't have that. You can see the difference in these kids where their parents have given them tools and skills, where they've learned better perspective, where they've learned to find new meaning. They've learned to self-manage, right? They've learned to be empathetic. They've learned all those pieces. They've learned to be mission-driven. They have the spirit of volunteerism. They understand gratitude. You see a difference in those people. But, you know, what I used to say to people, they go, oh my God, you've been through so much. I would be, if I said to people, oh, look at my life. You know, my husband died and my mom died. I lost all my money. Like, oh my God, I just can't get it together. I would be totally justified, right? Nobody would blame me, but what does it get me? It doesn't get me happiness. It doesn't get me connection. It doesn't get me love. It doesn't get me success. It doesn't solve any of those things. So the thing I really tell people is, look, you're going to create a story about your life. No matter what it is, you're going to create a story about the events that happen. Create one that serves you. Create one that's going to bring you more joy. Create one that's going to bring you more energy. Create one that's going to bring you more connection. Create one that's going to bring you more of everything. You know, that's what it's really about. So, you know, I try to get people to ask about, you know, what could be a different meaning, ask a better question, say, you know, what's the next thing I could do towards the direction of my vision. That's the steps. And it's not, and the other thing too, is it's not big. It doesn't have to be big steps. It can be a tiny step, deciding to put your clothes on instead of staying in your pajamas.
Let me ask you this then, in terms of, you know, what women can do to be, to start a process, to get on a path. What is your best advice?
I would just get really clear on what you want your vision to be. And what I mean by that is, like, what do you want your life to be about? And it could just be, you know, I want to be a confident, you know, centered, grounded woman who sets her sights on her goals and makes them happen. I want to be a present mom who's engaged with my kids, who helps them to, realize their dreams in any way I can. I want to be healthy. I want to have a body full of vitality and energy. It can be, first start with a vision. Living your life without a vision, living your life without a goal that you're trying to get to, even if that goal is like we're talking about, it's feeling things. It doesn't have to be, I want to have $10 million. I want to be the senior vice president of such and such. Those are great things, but we only want them because we want to feel a certain way. Yeah. So if we can get really clear on what our vision is and then say, okay, what are some outcomes I could do to get me closer to that vision? And one outcome might be, I want to create a consistent meditation practice. One outcome might be, I want to, eat healthy 80% of the time and work out, do some kind of exercise 5 days a week. Those are outcomes. Or I want to lose 10 pounds, whatever it is. Those are outcomes. But the vision's what keeps you grounded. The vision's your anchor. The vision's your true north. Yeah. So you can just focus on the vision about how you want your life to be, and then just say, okay, who do I need to be to live that vision? Yeah. That's the identity piece. I need to be calm. I need to be centered. I need to be disciplined. I need to be organized, right? What are those things I need to be? That's the best way to move forward. And then the leverage is your why. Why does it matter? Because I want my kids to have a great life, because I don't want to feel the way I've been feeling, because I want to feel more joy, because I don't want to feel scared. Yeah. Whatever that is, that's why it's worth it. And then just little things. So the other thing, so the big thing is, let's just give people a really quick, easy thing that they can do. So one of the biggest things that you can do to change your life is develop a consistent morning routine. Okay? So morning routine, and this is what I would say is included in your morning routine, okay? Some kind of movement, whether it's stretching, whether it's breathing, whether it's some walking, something, but some kind of movement, right? A mantra, right? Today is going to be the best day yet. Today I'm going to be proud of who I am. Whatever, anything that makes you feel good. Get yourself into that state that you need to be in. If you can start your day off like that every single day with movement, mantra, and music, you're going to change your day, because it changes your state. Is create a routine or a ritual that you do every day to get your head right. My son calls it getting your head right, right? Get your head right. Before you do anything else, get your head right. Everything will go better. You'll be more likely to do the right things. You'll be more likely to exercise. You'll be more likely to eat healthy. You'll be more likely to do the thing you need to do for work, or send out that resume, or make that phone call, or be patient with your kid or your husband or your wife, right?
That is such a gift in terms of giving people that advice. And I have to tell you, just this notion of the fact that what we're really trying, our vision is ultimately about getting ourselves to feel a certain way, is that just almost feel like you sort of need like a, mind blown emoji.
It is.
You're dropping so much knowledge, Joelle. You're just dropping.
We spend so much time getting worked up over these specific things that we think that we need to have to be happy. Oh, when I lose weight, I'll be happy. When I have a boyfriend, when I have a husband, when I get married, when I get the promotion, when I have this house, when I do this, when it's the end of the pandemic, when it's this. There is no when.
No.
It's today. Today's your day. Don't, like my friend says, don't let it cost you a day. What if this was your last day?
I love that. It's amazing. I mean, I could honestly, I think you've got so much to share. If people want to find you and follow you and learn more from you, what is the best way for them to do that?
I would love it if they would. And our website is mindsetpartnership.com.
I am certain that women are going to take so much away from this. I'm actually going to make sure that everyone brings a pen and paper to the podcast listening, because there's so much here. And thank you so much, Joelle. We really appreciate you.
It was so nice to be here, and thank you so much for including me. It was wonderful. I hope that somebody gets some good value from this, and that if they need anything, they reach out.